Hi students, welcome back to this channel English Literature with Irdam. Today I would be discussing one of the most important and emerging area in English literature, literary research, theory and criticism, and that is the digital humanities. Because of the traditional understanding of the literature, many of us haven't yet introduced to the new and emerging ways of the learning, emerging ways of the research, and emerging ways of the humanities. Earlier, the very understanding was bookish or the classroom centered, but now it has been changed to the science and technology, and we can't do anything without the help and exposure of the science and technology. So in this video, I would be explaining some of the core concepts, ideas, and terminologies, perspectives, and with the help of a few theorists in this field of digital humanities, I would be showing that how this emerging perspective is quite appreciative and quite insightful. So without wasting our time, let us begin. As for centuries, the the humanities were studied through the books, manuscripts, and the classrooms. But today, our digital system has taken the place of textbooks, archives are online, our cultures are live on the screen. So this raises a serious question, not how do we read literature, but the question is that how do we read humanity in our digital age? So there is a major shift in the concept and idea of traditional humanity, that how we deal with human subjectivity, human identity, human emotions and feelings, empathy in the age of science and technology. So this is the question that gives birth to the digital humanities. So let us see that what is digital humanity. It is an interdisciplinary field that combines the humanities disciplines like literature, history, philosophy, culture with digital tools and computational methods. And digital humanities studies are humans, cultures using digital technologies, and also it studies the digital technology using humanistic thinking. So it deals with the two different things. One is human culture using the digital technology, and the second is digital technology and how the human thinks about it. And it is both a method and a critical perspective. Now let us see that how this digital humanities emerge and what are the different causes and backgrounds of digital humanities. Because our knowledge system has been changed, our books have been datas, our archives became databases, reading becomes searchable on the internet and Google, our cultures became algorithmic, and the traditional close reading is no longer enough to handle the massive textual data, digital narratives, and online cultures. Earlier, we used to do the close reading as new critics propose this idea of the new the close reading, where a text is closely read without the mentioning of author's biography, author's name, author's background, and other sociocultural conditions. But because of this emergence of science and technology and the digital humanity, we can criticize and analyze massive texts, digital narratives, and online cultures in no time. So, digital humanities emerged to reinterpret the humanities in the age of data and networks. There are some computational texts analysis techniques also, that instead of reading one novel at a time, we can analyze thousands of texts together. And this is what we call as the distant reading, which is quite opposite to the close reading of the text, an idea given by new critics, particularly by I.A. Richard. So when we analyze thousands of texts together, we can see the word frequency, that how many words are used in the text, which kind of words are used, whether they are melancholic, whether they are pessimistic, whether they are good, bad. So whatever the qualities of the words are there, we can analyze them in no time with the help of science and technology and the digital humanities. We can also do the topic modeling. We can analyze the sentiments used in the particular text and the characters, and we can also see the stylistic patterns, that which kind of style is followed by the writer. So this does not replace the interpretation, it supports the critical insights. Now let us see that how the digital archives and preservation techniques are used in digital humanities. Rare manuscripts, letters, colonial records, oral histories are digitized and made accessible, and this decentralizes the knowledge. Earlier, knowledge was centered to any particular community, any particular caste, any particular class, but now digital humanities have made the knowledge universal and free and accessible. It also challenges the elite control of archives. Earlier, the libraries were controlled by elite classes or the authorities, but now Google, digital humanities, science and technology, they have made the archives available for each and everyone 24 by 7. It has also democratized, it has also democratizes the history. So these are the new emerging techniques and trends in the digital humanities. There are also some literary movements, migrations, and narratives that can be visually mapped. For example, with the help of digital humanities, other technology, we can see the travels narratives in the novels and how the romanticism is spreaded. And we can also see the colonial trade routes in the literature with the help of technology. Digital humanities also examines the social media narratives, gaming culture, digital storytelling, online identity, and artificial intelligence generated texts. So it talks about the new ways of analyzing and examining the narratives experiences, and storytelling techniques. And in this process, internet itself becomes a text because it also spreads some kind of narrative in the society. There are some major theorists and thinkers in digital humanities who are considered as the backbone and the propounder of this new philosophy and theoretical technique. So, first one is the Franco Moretti and his famous concept distant reading becomes quite famous. This concept was given in 2013, and Moretti argues that traditional close reading focuses on few texts. For example, new critics say that when we criticize or analyze any particular text, so we can do that criticism or analyzation of a single or limited text because it is the manual labor and manual work. So human has some capacity, and that human as per the capacity can criticize or analyze one or two texts at a time. But digital humanities says that literature contains million of texts. So instead of reading line by line, digital humanities proposes that reading literature through patterns, graphs, and data helps us to analyze various texts, thousands in number, in a time. So this has changed the literary studies radically. And Matthew Kirschenbaum in his book Mechanisms, New Medias and the Forsenic Imagination has given the famous concept materiality of the digital. So he argues in this book that digital texts are not immaterial. They have physical, technical, and archival realities, and digital objects must be studied like the manuscripts. Then next comes the Kathleen Fitzpatrick. In her book Planned Obsolescence, she has given the concept of rethinking academic publishing. And this way, she talks about the new ways of publishing techniques or publishing the books or research papers. And she says that the traditional peer review is very problematic. And she says that traditional peer review technique was very closed academic system. And in the digital humanities, in the age of science and technology, she promotes the open access, digital scholarship, and collaborative knowledge production. Next comes the famous philosopher Catherine Hales. She is equally famous in the posthumanism also. In her book, How We Think Electronic Literature, has given a famous concept digital textuality and human machine cognition. And in this book, she connects the digital humanities with the post humanism, and she argues that thinking itself is now distributed between humans and the machines. So she is the one who initially talks about the artificial intelligence, where science and technology or artificial intelligence talks, thinks, and acts like the human being. So Catherine Hales has discussed this concept philosophically once, and now it is there in the society where AI has been capable of working like the humans. Then next is Joanna Drucker, and in her book Graphices has given the famous concept critical visualization. She warns that data visualizations are not neutral and they carry the ideological assumptions, and digital humanities must be critical, not just technical. You can take the example of YouTube. When you go on the YouTube, you see some data, you see some reels, videos, and other texts. So such data are not neutral, they are ideologically loaded, politically loaded. So she says that whenever we use the internet or whenever we use the digital facilities, we must be critical, not just only technical. Now let us see that how digital humanities in English literature talks about such narratives which are spreaded and criticized through the social media, through the technology, through the machines. And in literary studies, digital humanities first expands the canon. It also questions the authority. It also recovers the marginal voices, and it also studies literature as networks, not monuments. This technique has shifted the focus from isolated genius to systems, circulations, and the texts. There is some criticism on the digital humanities as well, as various philosophers, scholars favor and appreciate the presence of the digital technologies, whereas some other predict and claim that it is harmful for the society. So it means that scholars are divided in two different aspects and the perspectives. Those who are in the favor of technology and those who are in the against of technology. So it means that not everyone agrees. Critics argue that due to the digital humanities, it may enforce the idea of ignoring the close reading. And technology also may dominate the humanity in near future. It may also privilege institutions with resources like IT sectors, corporate sectors who have the digital technologies in plenty may have the privilege over those all institutions who don't have the privilege of the digital technologies. So it says that it digital technologies resources may spread the disparity and differences in the society, and it may also reinforce the discrimination in the society. So digital humanities responds by emphasizing the critical, ethical, and inclusive digital practices. And let us see that why digital humanities matter today. Because in the age of science and technology, we have artificial intelligence, we have surveillance, we have algorithms, we have climate crisis, and digital humanities helps us to humanize technology, to critique the data power, to protect the cultural memory, and to rethink that what it means to be human in the age of science and technology. So let us conclude this video that digital humanities is not the end of literature, but it is literature that enforces and helps to think differently. It also reminds us that even in a digital world, human values, ethics, memory, and imagination still matters. So it promotes the human values. It also says that technology changes, but human question always remains same. So what is the human question? It is the human values. It is the human respect, dignity, and identity in the society. That doesn't change. So if literature once taught us how to read books, digital humanities teaches us how to read the digital world itself. So this is a major shift in the literary tradition and the scholarship. And I hope that you have enjoyed this video so far. Meeting you next with a new interesting topic. Thank you.